Beyond Borders, Transforming International Payments. That's the title of the panel you participated in at the Salone dei Pagamenti 2025. How would you describe the current landscape of cross-border payments?
So I think that cross-border payments are at an inflection point. Right now, we have objectives from the oversight at G20 that force the industry to work on how cross-border functions in the future. But we're also seeing a lot of initiatives going towards that direction. So the commercial banks are doing things like, the new SWIFT scheme that goes end to end from payer to payee, but also like new rule books, the one leg out. But more importantly, we're seeing also new parties coming into the plan, like card companies, fintechs that offer cross-border on new rails because they serve both sides. And then we have also the central banks playing their game. So even in the retail space, they're coming up with things like an interconnectivity scheme, Nexus. And then they eventually will come with central bank-backed digital currencies, CBDCs, which also leads me to the last point, and that's probably the most fashionable, and that is stablecoin. So stablecoin, imagine like it's money in a new form because it's fully backed with fiat currency, and you can use it for cross-border. Now, with all these choices, and that is an interesting part, they are not just there for banks. The fintechs that offer them, sometimes they even approach directly the client, the corporate client, or even the retail client. So it's not quite sure yet if they're friend or foe, but certainly the cross-border landscape will change in the next coming years.
As the cross-border landscape becomes more complex, how is Oracle helping financial institutions manage this growing diversity of rails and channels?
Oracle is a vendor of software, banking software, and in banking software also a payments engine. And our idea is a payment hub, meaning that all types of payments are running through the same engine. And now, with this future in mind, that there is going to be more and more choices for cross-border, that is what we try to anticipate. And we don't know which channels will be most dominant, and maybe it will be choices for banks to make, and maybe they will be using more than one, two, three channels for different routes, for main corridors, for exotic corridors. So the idea that we want to bring to the table is that basically we want to enable banks to do that by pre-integrating that new rails, that new choices. So that if they want to use a card provider or a fintech or a stablecoin, they can simply switch it on and use it. There's one more thing that is important in a payment engine, that is the orchestration of a transaction. So today you receive something from the corporate and it's already determined where to put it into an ACH or RTGS. But with more and more choices at the back end, with card rails, with fintechs, with stablecoin, you need to make sure that you put the right choice. And that also means that the workflow has to be rewired because you first need to explore what this rail has to offer and features. You can explore the FX rate, the cost, the transparency of a channel, eventually what type of pre-validations are available. And then you can summarize all that and present it to the client as a choice. Now, if you want to do that, you have to reverse the order. You have to have an intelligent routing that it not only routes based on rules, the client preferences, but also the bank's preference, but also routes based on experience. This is where artificial AI comes into play. So if we look at the 100,000 of payments that have been already routed through this channel, the AI is in a position to judge how efficient is that rail, how much STP breaks there are, how much reverses, how much returns. So all of that is knowledge that you want to be able to expose to your client. In short, this is about making a back office task a frontline advantage. And this is where the clients then actually have choices, also being given what they're asked for, which is more transparency and more speed, and also where they are more prepared to pay for a service.
Which AI use cases are you experimenting?
Talking about the artificial intelligence in payments, and it's relevant in almost all aspects, but in payments, we will be using it very soon for a couple of very obvious use cases. Supporting the operator and making transactions STP, for example, suggesting a repair, so the operator just needs to choose what is right instead of doing it themselves. But then we very soon get to new use cases that only AI allows, and that is anomaly detection with respect to historical payments. That is routing optimization with taking into account previous payments, historical payments. And that is liquidity management support. And those are all very important aspects, especially in the new world of more choices for cross-border payments. So we will have, we're going to release our first AI support functions in April, with many more agents lined up for the coming releases.